I would have agreed until I saw Aziz Ojolari in the Giants, who had a better year last year and was younger. He's younger. Uh, he had 6 sacks last year, and he got 1 year up to $6 million. I was like, yeah, Charles Omenihu's not getting more than that. He actually did in terms of incentives get potentially more than that, but not in base.
Right.
Look, for the Chiefs, this is a no-brainer. Like, why wouldn't you do this? Why would you, even if the cap is $5 million, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter.
It's that football show here on KC Sports Over. Tucker Franklin hanging out with Matt Verderame. As always, thank you to our partners, Ben Holiday, Bottled and Bond Bourbon. We appreciate you guys spending some of your Saturday with us, hanging out as, look, March Madness in full swing. And in the middle of that full swing, we're recording this podcast, and Charles Omenihu signed. But Matt, how are you doing? How are things going on in the Verderame household?
I'm good. I'm good. You're gonna see me turning my head a lot because as I'm doing this podcast, I'm watching Colorado State and Memphis because my dad picked Memphis. I picked Colorado State. Neither one of us knows anybody on these rosters, but it doesn't matter. It's about bragging rights.
Right.
And so far in the day, I'm 3-0, so I feel pretty good about where I stand. I was so yes. I started out real cold, ended up doing okay. Big important thing. St. John's won, pulled away from Omaha. Now I got to take out Calipari at all costs. So it's Calipari and one of the worst states in the union, which we're going to get to as a power ranking toward the end of the show. You stick around, by the way, for the power rankings, everybody. We're gonna each rank our 5 worst states. Get ready to be really offended.
Yes.
So, yeah. But with that being said, Charles Omenihu signed during the St. John's game, and I had people like emergency pod. I was like, "There's no fucking chance, like not right now." And I was like, "You know what? He signed at 10:00 at night, so." Just gonna fold it into the next pod. But look, he got up to 7 million, which means it's not 7 million. I haven't even bothered to ask. I'm guessing it's probably between $4 and $5 million. Like that's probably the actual cap hit.
Yeah, I think it's probably closer to 4 if I was to guess. Yes, that is what stuck out with me immediately from the Charles Omenihu signing, and Nate Taylor had kind of been on it of just like, hey, look, there's not a lot of sense of urgency there. On his side, he hasn't played a whole lot of games. He's played 2 half seasons in the past 2 years. Look, and part of that is a suspension, and the other part of that is because he tore his ACL. Like those are 2 things. If you're going to pay a guy some money, you want him to play football for you. That might be a pretty elementary concept. But look, we knew that Charles Omenihu wanted to get that bigger payday. Doesn't necessarily get it here. It's a 1-year prove-it deal with I'm glad you pointed that out. The up to $7 million. And look, truthfully, I thought that he was going to get a 1-year deal back with the Chiefs. I don't think that there was any surprise that he's back with the Chiefs, especially when you look at the Chiefs defensive line situation, which we've had conversations many times on this podcast about their defensive line situation. That's not a surprise there. I thought it'd be like up to 12. I thought he was going to be able to get some incentives up to 12, but up to 7 was kind of a lower number than I anticipated, Matt.
I would have agreed until I saw Aziz Ojolari in the Giants, who had a better year last year and was younger. He's younger. He had 6 sacks last year, and he got 1 year up to $6 million. I was like, yeah, Charles Omenihu's not getting more than that. He actually did in terms of incentives get potentially more than that, but not in base.
Right.
Look, for the Chiefs, this is a no-brainer. Like, why wouldn't you do this? Why would you, even if the cap is $5 million, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. I think for the Chiefs, you sign him. You hope this is the first time he has a full season with you, and you move forward. Like, they're really now to a point where pretty much they know every starter on this team is outside of D tackle. I mean, obviously Chris Jones is one of them, and then like the other one's an open-ended question. I mean, you want to say running back? Fine, you have that conversation, but like it's a rotation, and you know what 2/3 of it is. Correct. So like, you know, like look, I fully expect them to draft a running back high, but even if they didn't, like, you know, who's going to be carrying the ball a lot of the time. The question really becomes now, who is the other D tackle, which I think leads to the draft question, which the draft, by the way, is a month away now. Like,
isn't that nuts?
Yes.
What happened?
I don't know what happened. I will tell you that what's going to happen is that draft is going to end. The Chiefs are Mr. Irrelevant at the moment at 257. And then I am going to go into the fridge, find a 6-pack of Cougs, and it's going to be a reckless evening as I just celebrate what really for me is like summer break.
Yes, that's a great point. Yes, 100%. Because like when the season's done, we don't stop until the draft is done. Like a lot of people are like, oh, the season's done, so you guys must be done for a little bit. No,
No.
that's
So
not true.
I've explained this to many, many people. Like I actually think I'm busier from when the season ends until through the draft.
Yes, I 100% agree with that.
Because like during the season, especially if you're a Chiefs fan, in this day and age, like you're just wrapped up in it. You're having fun with it. Like they're winning games, the season's playing out. There's a rhythm to the NFL schedule that is just okay. So you have the Sunday, which is essentially like a day of March Madness, right? You have like games all day long. And then you have a Monday night game, and 3 days later you have a Thursday night game, and 3 days later you're back to Sunday.
Yeah.
And there's just this cadence. And with that, at least for me at SI, comes a lot of like the same melodic, like, okay, I'm going to write my column on Sunday, and I'm going to write this piece on this day, and I'm going to write this piece on that day.
Yep.
And it's very melodic, and you just kind of go along. But then you get to the end of the season, and it's like, all right, top 800 free agents. And then you just whip through that. And by the time you're done, like, I don't even smoke. And I find myself just like whipping out the filters and chain smoking, menthol lights in the front of the house. My wife, like, honey, come inside. It's 3 a.m. Like, damn it, I'm only on my second pack. The third pack, I don't have enough time before dawn. So I just take like the whole thing out. Just it's like a prairie fire, I think, you get through that, and then you finally, like, you come up for air, like we're talking about, like, oh my God, what day is it, right? Like, you stagger out of it, and then you get tweeted about, like, who's your favorite 6th-round receiver? Who's a sleeper pick out of a Division II school? And you're like, time for another pack. It's just, people don't understand. That is actually the busier time. It really is. And then, so by the time the draft's over, I'm like, I'll be the first to admit this. I don't care who hears it. Like OTAs for me, not moving the needle.
Nah,
I don't care. I mean, truthfully, this year for OTAs, I'm probably going to travel a decent amount of teams, just to kind of make an appearance and talk to some people and get some stuff for stories and our preview issue and stuff like that. But like, I care about that. But when I'm at those practices, and a lot of times, like, I'm talking to like PR people and coaches and the occasional player. Like, I'm not there going like, man, this guy looks good. And this throws his short t-shirt on. Like, I don't care. I just learned there's nothing to take from that stuff. There's nothing real to take from any of that stuff. So, yeah, man, it's summer break, second the draft ends.
We'll obviously be live every single pick of the NFL draft here at KC Sports Network. We've done it for the last 4 years. Yeah. Oh, yes. I should clarify. Matt will not be there.
I will not be live here anywhere. Okay, yes. You can read my thoughts over at Sports Illustrated after you're done watching the guys here go live.
There you go. That's a great clarification. We'll be Holiday Distillery.
Where's Verderame? No. Verderame face down on the couch. It's pick 300. Yeah, Verderame gave up hours ago.
Hearing the faint sounds of Roger Goodell's voice in the background. Well, at that point, it's not even Roger Goodell.
No, it's like a seal at the San Diego Zoo announcing the pay. He's like, this is what are we doing? That's when it's jumped the shark. There is no job in our industry that deserves more credit than the guys on NFL Network or ESPN who it's day 3 of the draft.
Yes.
And they can't even fiend giving a shit by like the 6th round. And then some guy gets drafted that they don't have a video package for. And they're like, yeah, Max Smith out of Ohio University. Yeah. What do we think about this guy, Mel? I don't know what the fuck that is. Let's just go to the next pick. And like that's when they go to commercial and the ticker's still running.
Yep.
And like 3 more picks happen. They come back and like that guy might as well have been me. They're just like, yeah, whatever. He went to the Raiders. The best one of those that ever happened, ever. So I will pull up the exact year because I want to get this right. It was a 2nd round pick by the Raiders, and to this day, it made me laugh so hard I almost had like an accident. Like I just couldn't breathe. It was 2009. Okay, so I don't know if you remember this player or not. If you don't, I mean, there's no shame in it. Although he did play 10 years in the NFL. Mike Mitchell was a safety, ironically, out of Ohio University.
Wow.
And, yeah, good pull. And he was projected to be like either a late or not, like a priority free agent, like a late round pick. Or the Raiders took him early in the second round.
Yeah.
And ESPN didn't have a video package for it. And Mel Kiper just ripped them to shreds for 5 solid minutes. He was so annoyed that it's like, well, we don't have a video package. Just who the hell would take Mike Mitchell this early? Like, he's just so offended by it. It turned out like Mike Mitchell was actually one of like the least offensive picks they made in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
It's actually had a decent career. But oh my God, man. It was, I was 2009. So I was in college. I was 21 years old, 20 years old. I was dying watching it. It was so funny how upset he was.
Mm-hmm.
But I give these guys credit. 7th round pick comes along, some D tackle out of Youngstown State, and you got Mayock. Like, this guy's got good hip flexion. He's got a motor. He's powerful off the first step. They're showing some video that looks like it was shot out of a blimp because like that's the best vantage point you can get at Youngstown State. Go Penguins! And you're just trying to. Like, you're like, oh, look at what this guy brings to the table. And they're talking the guy up like he's a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
Well, you guys deserve $8 million for this day. Like,
yeah.
I don't know how anybody's doing this. It's amazing.
It is super impressive. Like, just the draft people. Like, shout out to everybody who does the draft. I just spend a little bit of time with Matt Miller over at the Missouri Pro Day, literally out the car for me right now, recording this podcast. A little peek behind the curtain from the Missouri Pro Day. But these guys got to know all these guys. I know that's a lack of a better term. These guys got to know these guys, and there's a lot of guys out there.
And also, though, not only do they have to know them, like shout out, like you said, like Matt Miller, who's one of the best at his craft, right? Like, if you're actually good at it, like Matt is. So like I know like people joke like Mel Kiper is an institution for a reason. Okay,
100%. Yes,
you're not just looking at tape of these guys. You're talking to their coaches, your athletic directors.
Yes.
You know the pipelines, like all that stuff. That stuff that like if I'm going to talk about a guy, I'm going to call somebody like Matt Miller. Like, hey man, can you give me a thought on him? I'm happy to tell you or whatever. Or give me some background. I've got a buddy in the industry, Eric Froton, who covers NBC Sports. He does the draft stuff. He's ridiculous. He knows all these guys and all their backgrounds. Like Thor Nystrom does the same thing. Like those guys know all these dudes backwards, forwards, in and out. Like, and it's more than just this guy has a good first step. Like, yes, I can see that. But what they'll tell you is like, well, no, this guy also played in 2 different systems. And this is the system he was better in. And this is the guy he played next to. And then this guy got hurt next to him. And, oh, by the way, he came out of this high school, and this high school's got a history of producing really good defensive tackles because that coach has been there for 25 years and blah, 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 blah. Like, that's the stuff that to me is crazy. I cover 32 teams, okay? That's enough to just make me keep all that stuff straight. That's hard enough. Covering all of college football and, like, where these guys are coming from is how these guys do it, I have no idea.
134 FBS teams and then FCS teams on top of it as well. There's a lot that goes into it. I also want to shout out Kent and Maddie because they do a lot of the same thing that those guys do, but then they're
out.
Yeah. See, I'm too nice, I guess. I don't have the East Coast in me. This is the Midwestern in me coming out. Yeah, they also do the same thing, but then they slant it to a Chiefs perspective, and you can obviously go or pre-order their draft guide in the link in the description. Phenomenal piece of content. I was ordering it before I worked with them. So,
Kiss will send me one pro bono, or I'm going to riot.
Fair. We'll get you on the list.
By the way, shout out to the KCSN merchandise. He sent me a bunch of stuff in the mail the other day, and he sent me these 2 glasses that look like they're really nice, like KCSN inscribed glasses. Yeah. They're made of like silicone.
Oh, yeah, dude.
They're phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
My daughter picked it up. Her head exploded. She's 7.5, and she thought it was glass. She said, what is this? How did this happen? And I explained it to her, and she's like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. So, big fan.
We got these for the golf tournament, and my favorite thing to do was when we were handing them out to people, I would just throw them at people, and they would freak out because it looks like it's a glass.
It absolutely looks like glass. They do. Even like right up close, they do.
And I threw it, and people would be like, "What are you doing?" And then they realize it's silicone. It was my favorite joke to do all day at the golf tournament.
They're cool, man. And if you got kids and like you're sick and tired of cleaning up broken glass and shattered dreams off the floor, like Get them.
That part of it.
They're cool.
Yeah.
No, they're really cool. They're actually really neat. So shout out to BJ. Also sent me a bunch of stickers. My daughter's just plastering her house with KCSN stickers.
So advertising.
Yeah. It also means I got to paint now tomorrow. Thanks. No, no, that was another thing she did. But in any event, they're cool. They're cool. Go out and check out the merchandise. But anyway, I wasn't trying to do an infomercial. But those glasses are really neat. They're just unique.
I can already see the comments pouring into this video because we were complaining about an aspect of what we do, Matt, and people are gonna be like, "I'd kill for you guys to." Look, we love it. We enjoy it. We signed up for this. We signed up for it. I'm sure you have a part of your job that you still want to complain about though too. I just want to get out ahead of that one, out in front of it. If you've already sent your comment, it's okay. I'll make sure to comment, keep watching or keep listening. But
you're gonna.
Yeah, you're gonna keep.
You're gonna.
We're gonna take a break. Aaron Rodgers took a visit to the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll talk about that. And it's over. And who knows what's happening next with Aaron Rodgers. We'll talk about that and much more coming up right after this.
Shop Chiefs tickets and more with no fees. Plus, save big with code KCSN at ticketsforless.com, the official ticket provider of KC Sports Network.
Success in real estate takes more than vision. It takes the right financial partner. When someone takes something rundown and turns it into something great, that's called a comeback story. Like Bryan Group. They take distressed properties here in KC, completely rework them, and then turn them into valuable real estate. But that kind of work needs the right bank behind it. Enter Emprise Bank. They're not about cookie-cutter loans. They saw Bryan Group's vision, backed them, and now they're making big moves in Kansas City real estate. Talk about your partner in possible. Emprise doesn't do one-size-fits-all financing. They invest in potential and back growth. Visit emprisebank.com/KC to learn more. Emprise Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Matt, I was at Missouri's Pro Day, as I mentioned previously. Well run, very well run Pro Day. They didn't mess around. Started at about 9:30. I was able to leave at 12:15. So they got through those guys.
Pretty good.
Yeah, they got through those guys pretty good, pretty well run. I see other Pro Day stuff running in here. You know who doesn't need a Pro Day? Well, actually, you know what? Maybe he does. Maybe we still need to see what Aaron Rodgers can do because, he was not very good last year. And there's NFL teams, actual real-life NFL teams, waiting on him to make a decision before they make their decision on quarterback.
If there's anyone in the league that would hold his own Pro Day.
Oh, it would be Aaron. Yeah.
Going to have it, but I don't want any media there. But also, you don't need a credential. Come on and bring a camera. Yeah, but God, I hate the attention. Please don't give me any attention. Is that camera on? You have two of them? Make sure you get every angle of the field. But I hate the attention. Please don't give me any attention. Also, we're going live with McAfee for the entire thing. He's just going to have his set right at the 5-yard line.
Yeah.
He's going to he's not going to speak. He's going to just stare at the field. Somebody had a great joke about that, actually. That, I guess ESPN's in talks for potentially buying, Red Zone and all this other stuff.
Wow.
And so I forget who it was. It was somebody on Twitter. Forgive me, who had the joke, it'd be great if ESPN bought Red Zone and AJ Hawk just said nothing for 7 straight hours. And I was like, I feel like that's exactly what would happen. Oh, touchdown.
Honestly, though, AJ Hawk, there's some clip compilations out there of when he does talk, pretty damn funny. He's
hilarious
funny stuff.
It's hilarious. So he doesn't say anything, and then all of a sudden he'll just hit a banger, and then he just sits there. You're okay, cool.
I'm not a Pat McAfee show disciple by any means, but when he came on for Halloween and he was just dressed up as was it Wayne Gacy as a clown? Just popped on, didn't see anything. It's just an insane power move. But yes, I'm gonna read this tweet from Albert Breer that was tweeted out 8 minutes ago on Friday. The Steelers meeting with Aaron Rodgers ended about a half hour ago. He spent time with GM Omar Khan, Coach Mike Tomlin, and offensive coordinator Arthur Smith. No deal, but there was no expectation that would happen today. The sides will keep talking, Matt.
Man, thank God. I was really concerned this was going to be all over with.
Yeah.
Look, this the very, very serious football analyst in me gets it in the sense that he is really in no rush to sign. What's the real reason other than just to have it done and, get into a building. I guess the argument to get it done quicker would be he is obviously not re-signing with the team. He's signing somewhere else. And so, the sooner you sign, the sooner you kind of get in the building, get the playbook, you start talking to the guys you're going to be throwing to, maybe get some chemistry. But is he going to do that? I mean, this is a guy who last year was like, guys, we need to be serious. We need to have less distractions. Also, I'm skipping mandatory minicamp to go to Egypt to have a nice day. It's like, I don't know, does he even care about any of that stuff? Like, maybe not. I guess my perspective on it, though, is like, I was talking to some people in the league who have kind of been like, look, maybe he's waiting it out for the Vikings, see what happens. I will preface this by saying the NFL is a living, breathing thing and things change.
Mm-hmm.
I would be very surprised if he ends up with the Vikings. The Vikings really, really like J.J. McCarthy. And I know that from being in the building in January for multiple days. Like, I was writing a story on the Vikings, and I was there, and I was talking to people. Like, they're super high on that kid. Like, not like that, like, typical, like, hey, we love him. Like, really genuinely, like off the record, behind closed doors, like, love the guy. I don't think they're going to turn around and give Rodgers a bunch of money. I also think they run the risk if they do that, McCarthy is going to get pissed. And his agent is going to get pissed. And you don't want that with your future franchise quarterback, because Rodgers isn't the future. It's not like he's 35. He's going to be 42. So I just think this comes down really to Pittsburgh and the Giants. And if you're Rodgers, the Steelers are just clearly the better option. I mean, I don't even know how you could argue. Like, they're not a Super Bowl team, but with him, they're a playoff team. At least it should be, right? It should be. Now, you got a locker room with Rodgers, Pickens, Metcalf, and Tomlin. I mean, that's must-see TV. I'll say that. Mm-hmm. Personalities, like, that's a room. But, like, the Giants aren't good. There's no – and there have been some talk, like, well, the Giants feel like internally that if they have a quarterback, they're ready to be good. I just don't see it, man. I don't like maybe better, sure, but like good and better are two very different things. I just don't see that. And I know that, like, if you're him, maybe you're like, look, you know what? I played the last 2 years in New York. Like, I live here now. Like, I just want to stay here. Okay, fine. Like,
yeah.
But, like, bro, you're Aaron Rodgers. Like, take a private jet back from Pittsburgh if you really feel like it. Like, you're missing home. Like, you're from California. You're not from Bayonne. Like, who cares? To me, like, I do think if you're the Steelers, you're probably sitting there going, hey, man, listen, we're going to need an answer in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
We can wait till the draft. But, like, if you're not coming, we got to we're going to do something here. And the other thing is, too, they might also be sitting there on the phone with Russell Wilson, like, well, don't sign anywhere yet until we know. But if you're Russell Wilson, you might be able to screw that. I want to sign and make sure I got a starting job. So,
right.
There is no rush, but at the same point, that could change very quickly.
Now, Russell, correct me if I'm wrong, Russell Wilson, he did visit with the Browns, right?
He did, yes.
That would be funny.
That would be absolutely hilarious.
I don't think that the Steelers want Russell Wilson. I don't know that from, like, okay, I should probably rephrase that. I'm not saying this with any inside knowledge or inside insider information, but yeah, I mean, they saw how that played out last year with Russell Wilson.
They wanted Russell Wilson to be there.
That's the other part of it. There's nothing really holding them back from re-signing Russell Wilson. Now, should they have re-signed Justin Fields? Maybe, but I think they kind of gave that up when they benched him in week 6 or whatever it was.
Yeah, he's now heading up the Jets, which I'm sure will just go well. Yeah,
God bless him,
guy. Oh my God,
rest in peace to his career now. Poor guy. But I've been looking at some Steelers mock drafts, and I've been hearing it. Steelers interested kind of in maybe not like necessarily the top flight quarterbacks, just because they pick at 21, right? So, like, you might not get the number 1 overall quarterback there, but I mean, they've been poking around, I think, at some of the lower end mid round guys in terms of what they could do there. But like, that's not going to change the direction of your franchise. And you mentioned the Rodgers aspect of it. And again, I'll bring up the point that Mina Kimes made on TV when I was watching the free agency coverage when Twitter was broke. She was like, yeah, DK and Pickens, those are some really good wide receivers who kind of do their own thing. And a quarterback who doesn't really like when wide receivers do their own thing is Aaron Rodgers. So, like, I don't know if that would be necessarily a great mesh. It might be some water and oil type stuff there with Aaron Rodgers, because I know a lot of people be like, "Oh, they're a contender now in the AFC." They wouldn't be, but I mean, people will say that with Aaron Rodgers there. And look, if you're the Giants, I think you'd rather try to take Shedeur Sanders at 3, or try to take, I guess, the quarterback that doesn't get taken at number 1 if it's not Abdul Carter, right? I think you gotta try to take a talent up at high in the draft, and you don't want to waste time on a quarterback who is maybe a year away from never playing football again.
Yeah. I mean, at some point, you've got to think about the future of the team. And I just think, like, look, I mean, you could argue the Steelers and the Giants should both be thinking about the future of the team.
Right. Yes, correct.
I wrote a piece right after, like, literally in minutes after the Steelers lost the ratings in the playoffs. I was like, the Steelers need to tear this thing down and burn it to the ground. Like, that's what they need to do.
Yeah.
And in one of the rare instances of my career, I actually had a Steelers fan email me and was like, thank you. Like, literally wrote me this really nice, eloquent email being like, thank God somebody said it. Burn this thing to the ground. I've been watching them for 50 years. I can't take it anymore. Yeah. And, like, they're committed to just going 11-6. And maybe winning a playoff game. But like the Giants, like, they're the team. By the way, Colorado State's to a bounce pass, hit a guy in the foot, came popping up, drilled the ref in the face. Just drilled him in the face. He's no wimp though. He's up. He's moving. All right. Good Colorado State.
Concussion protocol does that fall for that one? They gotta go.
His head snapped back pretty good.
He got through a quick little, the finger test that they do there.
Right. He's jogging. He looks all right. He's checking for blood though. All right, good. You know what? Memphis ought to check for blood. They're down 7 with 3 to go. Colorado State, hold on, fellas. All right. No, I just think if you're the Giants, like, I don't know, why? Like, what is the only reason is because Shane and Dave will know if they go 4-13 this year, everybody's fired.
Oh, yeah.
That is the sole reason, because they're not sitting there going, hey, man, we might win something here. Like, nah. Like, you're just trying to win just enough that you're not all getting fired, which I get. I mean, but it's not like a really solid football plan.
I was just peeking around at some mock drafts. I did see from the latest from Daniel Jeremiah over at NFL.com, they do have the Giants taking Shedeur Sanders at number 3. They've got the Pittsburgh Steelers taking Jackson Dart. Bad pick. At 21. That's a bad pick.
Do you think Jackson Dart's going to go in the first round?
Do I think he will? I think it depends on how quick Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders go. I think if Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders go in the first 3 picks, yes. I think if they stick around, no.
I saw Jackson Dart in Mobile, and I don't know one human being who was like, first rounder.
So here's the thing. He's not good. I mean, like, people keep trying to talk themselves into him being good, and I don't understand it.
I literally don't know one human being who was down there who was like, man, watch them throw the ball. First round pick. Like,
I know one human being, though, to be fair. He's not with the Senior Bowl anymore, but I know one human being that was said that.
Okay, yeah, but that doesn't count.
That's fair.
I mean, listen, I get it. He led the SEC in completion percentage and yardage, threw 29 touchdowns and 6 picks. Like, I get all that. And listen, like, could the guy go and be good? I mean, yeah, I don't know, man. It feels like the kind of thing where it's like, hey, what about a third quarterback in the first round? It's like, is he good? I don't know.
You know what he gives me vibes of? He gives me a little bit of Sam Darnold vibes in the draft, right? Because coming into USC, Sam Darnold was kind of a highly touted prospect. Didn't necessarily tear USC up, right? Played fine in college. but then it was still just like, oh, he's gonna be the first quarterback. He's the best quarterback. But he still kind of had like that, for lack of a better term, aura around him about him being a high pick in the draft.
Right.
That's kind of been the same like path of Jackson Dart. As Jackson Dart came into college, it was like, this guy's a good quarterback. This guy's going to be a good quarterback. He's going to be a good quarterback. It's just people continually talking themselves into Jackson Dart being a good quarterback. Nothing has really shown that.
Also, by the way, for people unaware, he also went to USC to start.
He did.
He transferred. So I have a lot of respect for Lance Zierlein. I think he does excellent work with the draft. And he does a million of these NFL draft profiles on NFL.com, which you should check out. I mean, he just does genuinely really quality work. You know who he compares Jackson Dart to, his NFL comparison?
No.
He's close to the Chiefs, and he's not Mahomes.
Is it Gardner Minshew? Imagine drafting Gardner Minshew in the first round.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
That's right. That's right.
9.5-inch hands. Kind of small for a quarterback. I'm trying to figure out how old he is because he was a senior. As you mentioned, he started at USC. Like he's
got
probably 22, 23.
He's at least 22. He turns 22 in May.
No, okay.
Turns 22 in May.
So he's not Bo Nix old.
No, he's not 32.
That's good.
The best was Brandon Weeden when the Browns were like, we don't care that he's 30. It's amazing. Literally came to the league like 28 years old. Was that the same draft or a different draft? Remember when Andy was in Philly and took that guard who was like a fireman? He was literally 30. You remember that?
I don't remember that.
Oh, God, I got to find this guy. Hold on.
The 2012 draft was when Brandon Weeden was selected.
Okay, no, it was before that. I think I was in college. Oh, my God. Is it Danny Watkins? Was that his name?
What are the search terms you type in for that? Eagles?
I actually remembered his name. Yes. And Danny Watkins, who was drafted in 2011. First round, 23rd pick.
Wait,
he started as a rookie. He was 27 years old. And the Eagles took him in the first round. Andy and Brett were part of that. Don't ever let him forget. Andy Reid, Brett Veach, and Harry Roseman all sat in a room together and were like, this is who we're taking.
That's insane.
He lasted 2 years for the Eagles.
Well,
Lasted 2 years.
Shout out to the firefighters and first responders. That is like, you know that meme, that video of the guy who's like sitting on his couch and it's like, he gets drafted and he's like, me? Yeah. Hey, I wonder if that's how it went down. He's like, wait a second.
Yeah. And me? It's interesting. But in any event, look, I know we're going off the rails a little bit here, but then what do you want? It's the middle of March.
Sure.
Enjoy it. Have some fun with it. Yeah, no, I remember that because I remember Danny Watkins was drafted, and you were like, "Is that dude? Is like what's happening? How old's this dude?" And then Bo Nix, the Broncos drafted Bo Nix, and they're like, "Well, his rookie contract's going to be it because he's going to retire after that."
Right.
But like Burrow's kind of like that.
Burrow was low key old.
Burrow's a lot older than people realize he is. Like Burrow came into the league late in life compared to most rookies.
Yes. He's like the same age as Sam Darnold or something like that, right? Like, isn't that true?
Darnold, I believe, was 20. Burrow's going to be 29 in December.
Okay. Let me look.
Burrow was drafted 3 years after Mahomes, and he's 1 year younger than him.
Well, you said he's going to be 29 in December? Sam Darnold's 27.
Yeah, he's old. Yeah, and Sam Darnold was drafted like 12 years ago.
2018.
Yep.
That's
Burrow's 2020.
That's crazy to think about. Yeah, he was the number 1 overall pick in his basement. I remember that draft. That's crazy.
It's a good time. Real fun time to be alive those couple of years. Walk every day 3 miles around the neighborhood. Did not go clinically insane.
Right.
Nobody would get close to you. Like
that, hey. I like that part though.
Sometimes that was nice.
Yeah. You just be like, sorry, gotta stay 6 feet away from
it's just like
clear train. with the
I
car.
remember that first started. Like you'd go to remember how the grocery stores had like shortages of everything.
Yeah, people just hoard it.
People, I couldn't find toilet paper. They were just like, okay, I got to go in the woods. Like, yeah, it was total chaos. So, it's just like total chaos. It's like, well, we can't find food or bat tissue, but the good news is like an abundance of Q-tips are available. So that's good news. Yeah, it was just an insane time. But also like if at the very beginning, like you didn't know what was going on. You know what was going on. You're like, oh, like you just stay like 30 feet away from somebody. And then like 6 months in, you're like,
Matt, before we take our last break and get into power ranking our least favorite states, any other NFL topics you want to talk about? I saw the Texans continue their baffling offensive line strategy.
Texans are going to bring in Danny Watkins. He's only 40, so
fix.
Yeah, I mean, why not? It's not a football story, but it is a story that I'm going to share because I feel like it fits the motif of this podcast.
Go for it.
I don't know who is familiar with this man at all outside of Chicago, but Dan Bernstein has been fired by The Score. He's a radio host.
Yeah.
One of the more outrageous stories you'll ever read. So,
name sounds familiar.
He's been around forever. So,
yeah.
Awful Announcing reports out that Bernstein's been relieved, and they announced it on The Score. It's not really reporting, but they wrote about it. So here's essentially what happens. Okay, now Bernstein, I don't know how old he is. I'm guessing he's in his 60s. He tweets out a picture. I'm gonna send you the link so you can follow along with what I'm saying here.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So there you go. So he tweets out a link on Twitter of a picture saying this was a hell of a fight, and he's got this like massive fish in his hand. The fish is like bleeding. It's like appears to be a pike. All right. So he's got this fish.
Yeah.
A couple people are commenting like, "Oh wow, that's awesome." Blah 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 blah. Then this dude, Greg Messenger, who based on his photograph looks like in his profile picture looks like he's probably in his mid-60s, says, "LOL, that isn't walleye. That is a female northern pike that was getting ready to spawn, but instead Dan killed it and seems proud of it." Right? So Greg goes in hard at Dan. Dan then responds, "What the entire F is wrong with you? It was released successfully, took off like a torpedo. Go F yourself." And then the guy's like, "Oh, with dried blood on his gills? Sure it did, Dan. Liar." Dan then responds, "Like a shot. I never respond to trolls, but questioning my sportsmanship and conservation awareness sets me off." I mean, who doesn't that incense, right? Like, I too get furious when people say I didn't track the deer correctly.
Right.
But then this is where it goes off the rails. This is where it gets good. Dan then finishes that tweet with, "Want to fight? I'm a bad enemy, fucker." The guy then Greg here responds with, "You are a 5'7", 165-pound fat boy. You really worry me as a bad enemy. By the way, your language continues to give you away as a very base, juvenile person." Not deterred, Dan fires back, "Where are you at? I have your address and phone numbers. Want it all public? Do I worry you yet?" The guy goes, "Not one bit. I am very transparent on where I live." And then Dan Bernstein goes, "Want your kids involved?"
Holy cow.
He's no longer working at The Score in Chicago.
I believe I had heard a story of Dan Bernstein.
Dan's not well.
No. What was his show called?
Oh God, it's
I'm trying to see if
it's well known out here, but I don't.
Right. They call him. I think they call him Burn. Right? It's like he has like a nickname.
Probably. I mean, but
yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. So I'm on the Awful Announcing story right now. The social media threat also wasn't for the first time Bernstein found himself in unfavorable headlines in recent months. This is how I know Dan Bernstein is. Last year he went off on Barstool Eddie for calling him Bernstein. He called him his last name, and he said, like, "You don't call me that. You don't know me. You can't call me Bernstein."
Oh, normal.
Yeah, and like this was on the air, and I remember Barstool Eddie was just like so confused. He was just like, "What are you talking about?" Yeah, that's why I was like, "Oh, this dude is like on the verge of being a senile old man."
Like a crazy person. And then, I love that the thing that set this off wasn't like some huge, like, didn't attack his family, didn't attack him. It was just like, yeah, listen, like, looks like you killed that fish. And I think it was pregnant. He was just like, how dare you say I'm not a conservationist? It's like, I mean, look, one of two things happened here. Either you did kill the fish, which, all right.
Look pretty guilty, truthfully.
Yeah, it doesn't look good. I've fished a lot in my life, and I got to tell you, when there's a lot of blood on the fish, it's usually not a great thing. Not good, okay? Secondly, if you didn't kill it and it did swim away, bleeding profusely from its face, then what do you care? Like, this. Just an insane, like, just giving away a job that God knows is 6 figures because you were just like, I didn't kill this pike. Like, bro, get offline. My God.
He said, I didn't kill this pike, but I'll kill you.
And maybe your kids.
Yes.
Like, when I go up to the lake this summer up in Wisconsin, I'll tell you right now, I'm going to go fishing for some pike and I'm going to go fishing for some muskie. And if I catch one, I'm posting a picture of it. And I'm going to be like, I killed it. Even though I have no plans to, and I'll immediately catch and release. Because I don't think I've never caught a fish and not just catch and release, but caught and release. Right. But just to enrage the masses, I'll be like, looks like dinner. And then just see people be, how dare you? It's like just because it's fun to piss people off.
You should just say, you should take a picture of it and say, you like that, and then tag him.
That'd be amazing.
You like that at Dan Bernstein?
If it swam away like a torpedo, Dan. And then, just
incredible.
Awesome stuff. Just really normal stuff going on over there.
Super normal. All right, let's take a break. When we get back on the other side, we are going to power rank our least favorite states. Stay tuned.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network. Entertain, educate, inform. KC Sports Network.
All right, it's a Saturday. It's the last segment of the show, so you know what that means. We're power ranking things. Power rankings are back, and we are power ranking our least favorite states. Look, again, with power rankings, we leave the topic kind of vague because we like to leave it up for your own interpretation, right? Like Matt and I had 2 very different interpretations last week of college beers.
Cold beer.
Any beer, truthfully. Any, dang it, I forgot that one. That would have been a good one.
No, you could have just covered all bases.
Yeah. Anyway, no pun intended. It's just least favorite states not to be in, to stay in, to drive in, anything. Least favorite, all encompassing. Matt, would you like to start us off because this is your topic.
My topic. Look, I throw it on one ground rule though. You had to have you've had to have been in the state.
I think that's very fair.
Like, I would love to sit here and just like trash Mississippi, but
I know.
Yeah, right. But thankfully, I've never been either one of those states.
Right.
So it's got to be a state that like you've been in, and not like one of these like you got a layover at the airport, like that you've at least like driven through or something.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like there's a lot of strong contenders. All right. And for the record, like I'm factoring in like stuff to do, scenery, just a general vibe of the state. Okay. I know there are a lot of you watching this who have your reasons and are probably like, New York. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'll fight every one of you. Every last one of you. I will beat you with a slice of New York style pizza. Okay. You'll be blind by the grease. And then at that point, just into the Hudson you go. And at that point, it's like a vat of acid. It's over.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's get to it though. I think, number 5, Delaware is a ridiculous state that shouldn't exist.
It's the first one, though.
Yeah, great. And you know what? It did a nice job of setting the bar real low for every other state. It's like, if you can't be better than this, then give up. Now, the school, the University of Delaware, now I can't trash them too much because Veach went to Delaware, right?
Blue Hens, yeah.
Right. Blue Hens, ridiculous name. And on top of that, like, I wonder how Veach feels about being a blue hen. I'll have to ask him next time I run into him.
Isn't there a highlight out there of Matt Nagy throwing a touchdown pass to Brett Veach?
Yes. I feel like Nagy's super proud of the fact he's a blue hen. Like, he just seems like the kind of guy who'd be like really, like, he seems like a college spirit type of guy.
Yeah.
Delaware, So when I was a kid, I lived in Virginia for a couple of years, but we didn't sell the house in New York. It was just so my dad worked down there, and like we would drive down there, and I'm telling you, man, that drive, like, you go through New York, then you go down the Jersey Turnpike, and you go right, and you're in Delaware for like literally 15 minutes. It's just the most, like, just make it part of Maryland or something. Like, there's no need for this. Who asked for this state? You know, I don't, like, what are we doing? Like, who the hell's like, where I got to go? Delaware.
Yeah.
So,
good point.
As much as I'm an East Coast guy, Delaware's got to be on the list at 5.
See, Delaware doesn't make my list because I've never been to Delaware. So
who has? Like 12 people.
Right. Yeah. I was trying to make a joke about Delaware on the timeline the other day, and I had to scrap it because I couldn't think of a good enough joke about Delaware. I think
It's
Jeff Schwartz tweeted something like, "Is Delaware really going to do this?" And I was trying to workshop a joke about, like, the founding fathers when they drafted the first Constitution and they were the first state up, and I was like, "This is getting too wordy. I can't do this joke."
But I love it on the license plates. Like, that's all they have. They're just like the first state.
First state, yeah.
Like, there's nothing else. Like, I don't know.
Look, there's also not a lot of history that happened there besides them being the first state because, look, I did some research on Delaware so I could make a joke about it, and I couldn't find anything. I was like, I can't make a joke about this place.
Not much going on.
Anyway, at 5 for me, I've got Arkansas. I don't really like Arkansas, and that might be because of the University of Arkansas, but I've been there a few times. Not too impressive to me. Yeah, they got some mountains in air quotes there, but also they don't have fluoride in their water, and tastes like blood. It does. Their water just tastes like blood.
Feral hogs just like dying in the water. And I believe it.
I mean, Arkansas, generous, honestly, that I'm putting Arkansas at number 5, if that tells you anything about my list. But number 4 for you, Matt.
Number 4 for me is another Eastern state, although it's a Southeastern state in South Carolina. Now, look, I really like Charleston. Charleston's really cool. There's a lot of history down there. I'm a big history guy. So, like, South Carolina does have some real good, like, points to it. It's got a lot of cool stuff. Myrtle Beach shows a fucking disaster. I'll argue with anybody at the end of the time. Myrtle Beach is the most trumped up bullshit on the face of the earth. Just all this nonsense. Like, you try to go to the beach, but it's all these people who just are the worst.
Yeah.
Out on the beach. It's terrible. Charleston's awesome. The rest of the state, I've never been to Columbia. I can't speak to Columbia, South Carolina. Maybe that's nice. I've just never been. So there are some nice parts of South Carolina, to be fair. However, it makes the list because I don't know if anyone's familiar with this, but South Carolina has this part of the state called the Corridor of Shame.
Oh,
because basically it's just completely poverty stricken and run down, like borderline. Like, I don't know if it's abandoned, but like just really, really just like a disaster. It needs to be completely rebuilt. If you Google what the size of the Corridor of Shame is, it's half the damn state.
I just looked it up.
It's half the state.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. I drove through the whole damn thing once, okay? I was visiting a friend in Myrtle Beach, and after I saw her, right after college, after I saw her, I drove back up to see another friend up in Virginia, up in Blacksburg, and, man, they're not kidding about that Corridor of Shame. I remember I was 25, so I was a couple years after college. I remember driving thinking, if I break down, I'm dead. They're going to see my New York plates and be like, get him. I'm done. Like, there is nothing. There's nobody. There's a cell service. Like, I mean, it's different. I mean, there is now. I have no idea. Back then, there wasn't. Corridor of Shame's half the state.
Yeah, it is.
So, South Carolina's on the list.
See, again, another state that I can't put on my list because I've never been there. You know what? I'm gonna do some adjustments to my list on the fly. I'm gonna go Nebraska at number 4.
Yeah, I've never been to Nebraska, so I can't speak to it.
I've been to Nebraska, been to Omaha, but that's like about it.
Okay.
Of Nebraska, and I've been to Lincoln. Omaha is fine. It's a fine city. There's nothing special. Again, like we got to go down to these like when you're number 4, number 5, like they do have some qualities that are appealing. Because when we're gonna get to the worst ones that like don't have any attractive qualities, I think the Omaha, fine city. But that's the only thing you're going to Nebraska for. The zoo, You'll go to that College World Series, been to that. And those are good things. I've got friends that live in Omaha, but I don't want to go there all the time. So I'm putting Nebraska as a whole, as a state. Also, they had the opportunity. Oh, never mind. That's Iowa. We'll get to that later. Number 3 for you, Matt.
All right. The top 2 are absolutely set in stone. It's not even a question in my mind. 3's tough because, like, to your point, they're all like these states I feel like have some positive things about them.
They have a redeeming quality at least.
Yeah. That being said, I think in totality, like,
say it.
West Virginia's not good, man.
That's not what I thought you were going to say, but yeah, okay.
West Virginia. Now I will say this for West Virginia, and maybe I even could have flip flopped them in South Carolina. To be fair, actually, you know what? I'm taking them off the board. I'm going to take it back because I actually thought of a state that I was overlooking that I can't overlook. Connecticut is terrible.
Yeah, we did just have a long conversation with Connecticut before this podcast.
Now Connecticut's got coastline, it's got history, it's got a lot of money in certain areas. It's 50 miles an hour on the highway. I can't get past it. My dad's side of the family, like, they own a small cottage in Connecticut that I love going to every year. So, like, I even enjoy going. But, like, we use Connecticut as a way station to go elsewhere. We go to the beach at Rhode Island, and we go up to Boston because it's an hour and a half away. Okay,
yeah.
And I get to make fun of people from Boston and tell them that they're their city's second rate. As they scream and throw chowder at me, and it's a good time. Then we drink Sam Adams and we get over it together. Look, Connecticut is a train wreck. It's a nice state in terms of, like, again, like, there are really nice towns but, like, there's nothing to do.
Right.
Nothing. Let me tell you something. You want an impossible challenge? Go to Hartford and have a good time. That state would not have made the list if the Whalers are still there.
Great
the
point.
Whalers they couldn't take it anymore. They're like, we need to leave. We need to leave. And by the way, there is nothing worse than when the fucking Hurricanes are like, we're going to have Whalers night and wear all their... It's like dressing up in somebody's corpse.
Disrespectful.
It's so disrespectful. It's like, we stole your team, and also, hey, look at us. We're wearing the uniforms. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Connecticut's 3 for the speed limit.
Yeah.
And for the complete lack of anything to do. However, shout out to Munson's Chocolates. Wins best chocolate in the state every year. Best chocolate I've ever had in my life. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I will go there and get 8 pounds of chocolate when I go. I'm not even kidding. It's amazing. Everything else, we wasted time.
That was your number 3. Yeah.
Number 3.
Okay. My number 3. Again, redeeming quality. I'm gonna say Kansas at number 3 because part of Kansas City's inside Kansas. That's why it's the redeeming quality there. Everything else,
Out of respect for the listeners, I left Kansas out, but that's fair.
Meh. If we just took if we stretch Colorado out and we stretch Missouri out and just had big Colorado and big Missouri, would anyone bat an eye?
Big Colorado, be awesome. Big. There's nothing that makes me laugh harder. Like, you know how, like, people always talk like, oh, big pharma,
Right.
Anything's funnier if you add the word big in front of it.
Right.
I got to go get a new toilet, but, big toilets jacking up the price. It makes it hilarious.
Big grocery store right now,
Big groceries. Like, there's nothing funny about going to the grocery store until you're like, big groceries getting in the way. Then it becomes hilarious, right? Like, then you laugh while you're buying eggs for $12. You're like, well, what can I do about inflation? It's 800% because it's big grocery. Yeah. It makes it all better.
2.
All right, number 2, Indiana.
Oh, interesting.
Bro, it's not even, Indiana sucks, man.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Indianapolis is cool.
Yeah.
Indianapolis is cool. The rest of that state, every time I drive through it, I feel like it's like a terrorist attack against me. It is just, there is nothing. I drive through it every summer to get to New York.
Mm-hmm.
And there is an RV motorhome Hall of Fame in Indiana. It is so offensive on every level. And they just built an addition to it.
How?
People visit it. I don't know. It is shameful what goes on there. You always know the state's not good when you hit an exit and it's like next exit 25 miles. You're like, oh my God, because there's nothing here. Like you're just driving and driving and driving. Yeah. It's just Indiana is the bowels of hell. And then like you get like I love when I go to Indy for the combine. I just drive. It's like 3.5 hours from the house. Mm. And you're driving and you see these like I'm not going to wade too far through these waters, but you see these religious billboards that aren't like a teaching of Jesus or something. They're just like, you're in hell.
Right.
You know, and it's like about like something like a life choice you may or may not have made or like may or may not make in the future. And it's just like, damnation is near. And you're like, bro, I got to tell you, damnation's here. I'm in Indiana. Right? Already got there, bud. Already got there. You know, like, and the thing that kills me about a lot of these states, and look, this is a Midwest thing. Okay, I'm calling everybody out in the Midwest. Like, this is never in the East Coast. You don't see this in the East Coast. It's like the Rust Belt / like Bible Belt, whatever you want to call it. That every like 3 miles, there's another billboard for like a porn store. It's like, what is with the amount of adult stores off these interstates? And they're always like oddly right off the interstate. It's like, hey, you want to buy a tape from 1984? You're going to do it with everybody on the interstate watching you do it. You're going to feel that. So my dad's brought that point up for like we're driving somewhere. He's like, they're just right off the road. And it's true. Yeah. Like they are. They're never like 10 miles off the exit. You know, it's just like adult superstore. And then like the next like billboard is like, you're going to hell if you do this. You know, like, I'm so confused. Like, what does this area of the country want from me? Like, it's very hard to understand what's happening.
I just made the drive from Columbia to Kansas City. And if anyone knows Saline County in Missouri, it is a hotbed for both kinds of those billboards. It is like adult superstore, you're going to hell. Another adult superstore, 2 more, you're going to hell. 4 more adult superstores.
Now you're your wife, but also pornography. But also you're like, what? Oh my God, what's happening? Like it kills me. You know, we're like when you're in New York and you see a billboard, it's just like, get some pizza.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I think I will get some pizza. Who you got it to?
2, I've got Illinois. Might be an upset because I told you prior to the podcast.
You told me it was going to be number 1.
I thought it was going to be number 1. Then I started making my list out, and I said, "Oh, there's a state I hate more than Illinois."
All right.
I don't spend a lot of time in Illinois. Every time I drive through it smells like Vienna sausages. Yep. And
it's not good. I live here, and I'm looking for an escape every day of my life. Yeah, no, it's not great.
And
my wife forced me to stay here. Somebody, like twice, and somebody call a number.
Because you have to stay in Illinois. Also, isn't that state just like severely in debt?
Probably. Sure.
I think like the Illinois is like on the verge of like not being a state. Maybe that's an exaggeration.
I feel like half the people she knows from high school are also like just all severely in debt because they don't understand how a credit card works. But yeah, that's they're like, oh, we put a house on credit.
Like you're
guys not free. Can't do that. Yeah, like it's not a donation. It's not a suggestion.
Illinois statehood. Sorry to interrupt. I just figured this out. Illinois statehood debt. This is as of the fiscal year of 2024, so pretty up to date, I guess.
Yeah,
$69.79 billion US.
So basically, if you took Illinois out of the union, like we balanced the budget. Illinois is like the black sheep in the family that just keeps buying stuff. Like yeah, listen, we got to sit down with Rob and have an intervention because Rob's got an Audi and a Porsche and yet doesn't own a house.
Yeah.
He's in debt up to his eyeballs, but looks good driving into the driveway. So that's a win.
Google's AI overview, now take this with a grain of salt, obviously, is telling me that in terms of total liabilities, California holds the most debt among U.S. states with $498 billion.
Okay.
Fair enough. Huge.
They're also like the 8th biggest economy in the world, though. So like I kind of understand why they would have debt, whereas like Illinois, like what are we doing?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
We're Chicago with a field.
Yeah.
I live in the second biggest city in Illinois. Let me tell you something. It's Chicago with a field.
Number 1, Matt.
Iowa. It is offensive on every level. I can't express the deep-seated hatred I have every time I drive to Kansas City and I go through about an hour and a half to 2 hours of Illinois, and then I see Iowa, and it's just that sign. I go right over the Mississippi River, and the second I get over the river, I just see a sign that says, "Welcome to Iowa." And it used to say, the sign now has changed. It used to say, "Welcome to Iowa, fields of opportunity." I've never wanted to get out with a Sawzall and just take a sign down more in my life. But there's no opportunity in these fields. Like, it is just the only thing about Iowa that is memorable, other than just never-ending windmills and fields.
Caitlin Clark.
Well, sure. I just meant like geographically.
Oh,
speaking.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
Is there's the I-80 rest stop. It is the world's largest truck stop, and they just live for that. They're like, "This is who we are. We're a truck stop." And I'm like, "Yes, you're the truck stop of America." Yes. Like, there is no other reason to be here. It is just, you drive through like areas where you go, honestly, I mean, when I drive through Iowa, I probably go through about 2/3 of the state before I go head south for Kansas City. I'm in Iowa for about 3.5 hours, 4 hours, something like that. There's nothing. There is nothing. Like, you're just driving along. Like, there's not even the hilarious billboards. Like, they're like, nobody's here. Nobody's seeing this. Like, why?
Yeah.
Like, you're so excited when you see a stop that has like, "Hey, like, there's Chipotle here." You just, just got to get off now, because this might be the last time there's anywhere to eat for 200 miles. I don't understand. Like, I understand why some people just can't stand New York, and that's fine. I understand that. But also, like, there are plenty of people who move to New York because they want to live in New York. There are plenty of people who move to California because they want to live in California, and there are plenty of people who move out of California. That's fine. Who the hell's moving to Iowa? Who's like, "You know what my dream is? Iowa.
Right.
Can't wait. Just hope there's still space for me." Like, would you like a piece of land that's 700,000 acres? Not a problem. They cost 8 cents a piece. Oh my God. Iowa, number one. Not even a contest.
What infuriates me about Iowa is
it has the audacity to exist.
If you look at their county map, it's pretty aesthetically pleasing. They have 99 counties in Iowa. 99 counties in Iowa. They could have 100, but they decided to smush. If you look at the county map, top middle, they took of their perfect rows and columns, they combined 2 together to make it the size of practically 2 counties in the state. That is pretty standard, and they made it 99 counties.
Oh, they did. I can't believe I'm looking at the Iowa County map.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah. What is it? Kossuth here? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, what the hell?
Jesus County. Yeah. That's the most infuriating thing about Iowa to me.
I love how they made the counties like the map makes it look like basically like it's like a cornfield divided up. Yeah, they're like, let's just do that.
Yeah, let's do squares. Who cares?
Franklin County.
Yeah, shout out Franklin County.
I drive on this here. I couldn't tell you what are they doing putting on the damn like the cities like the real cities. Grundy Center. Like just put on the world's largest truck stop, and then I'll be able to find where I am here. I think if memory serves, I go through like the Clinton Davenport area, and then like around like Iowa City, and I just go straight through that mother, and then it's just straight down Osceola in Clark County. I feel like I stop there to get gas often. Yeah, it's just like I come up through Mizzou and go through there, and then like I get toward Des Moines, and it's just straight across. I am so pissed that I have to deal with Iowa on a day and day, or on a year in year out. Thank God it's a day in day out. But it's offensive, and I'm angry about it, and it's my number one.
Well, my number one is Oklahoma.
American there, but that seems totally fair.
I don't like Oklahoma. It's a state that is not very fun to drive through. It's their toll roads never work, and then I always get a mail in the like, "Hey, you forgot to pay this toll." I'm like, "Hey, you forgot to employ people to sit at their tolls." So why do I have to pay the toll?
Can't find anyone.
If you couldn't find anyone to pay it, how come I gotta pay it? It's one of those places that really doesn't have anything of interest. I think Oklahoma City is a boring city. I think Tulsa's better than Oklahoma City. I'll give them Tulsa. I think Tulsa's a nice city.
All right.
Oklahoma City doesn't do it for me. I think the name of their basketball team is dumb. I think they should rebrand their basketball team, and I think that they should give it back to the Supersonics. I think they should give it back to Seattle because they had them long enough. Now it's Seattle's turn. They need them back. It's a whole lot of casinos in Oklahoma too. Lots of casinos in Oklahoma. There's not. And they have legal marijuana, but only medicinal. So you see a lot of dispensaries, a lot of casinos. I think it might be telling that the government was like, yeah, Native Americans, you can have this plot of land.
Yeah, the government, known for its overly friendly stance toward Native Americans over the last 200 years. It was like, Oklahoma, sure, that's fine, take this.
Oh, you drive a hard bargain. I guess we'll give you Oklahoma.
You want New Mexico? Take it. Yeah, it's
I always dread driving I drive to Dallas probably every now and again. Tara's got some family down there. O-line Masterminds, Shrine Bowl. So we're driving to Dallas a few times a year. Not a hard drive at all. Straight 35, super easy drive. But you got to go through Oklahoma, man. And that part sucks. That part really sucks. Going through Oklahoma. That is my least favorite state in the union. Honorable mention, I didn't put Iowa on my list. I started crunching the numbers and I was like, well, Arkansas's got to make it. And then I think I flipped to Nebraska for Iowa. You said you've never been to Nebraska?
Never been, no.
Yeah, makes sense. That tracks.
Wasn't really motivated to get there.
Yeah, I think the only reason people would go would be for the College World Series. But like, if you're not that into college baseball, that makes sense. Why else would you go? The zoo's nice, but like, go to San Diego or the Bronx.
Yeah, one on a positive note. What is your favorite state that you've been to? Can't choose where you were born. I feel like New York's like not in play for me.
Well, I put where I was born on this list. I was born in Kansas.
Right? No, yeah. Well, that's fine. You can hate where you grow up. Self-hatred can be a good thing. A good place.
I do love Colorado. Colorado is really nice.
Colorado is very nice.
Beautiful state.
Terrible team, but good state.
Terrible team, yes. Fort Collins is beautiful. Where Colorado State is, by the way, beautiful city. Estes Park, great place. I do love Colorado, from the nature side of things. Yeah, I don't hate Texas. I know Texas gets a bad rap. It's fine. Texas is fine. I did actually really enjoy our time in Louisiana, New Orleans. I know that like a lot of people.
It's very nice. Yeah.
People shit on New Orleans, and like when I was going there, I was expecting it to be like dirty and gross, but like, yeah, I enjoyed my time there. But yeah, I'd probably say Colorado is probably my favorite state to travel.
Florida.
God, no, it's not Florida. No.
My dad calls Florida God's waiting room, and it's a hilarious joke. Every time I see it, it's all I think about. I'm going to shock anybody who knows me with this because I actually got so I grew up in New York, and if I could say New York, I'd say New York. I mean, I'm biased.
Yeah.
I really enjoy going to Wisconsin.
Interesting. Okay, never been.
There's just a lot of there's a lot of different things you can do in Wisconsin. Like we bought a lake house up there a year ago, and part of it was because like Milwaukee and Madison are really fun cities.
Yeah, that's a
Green Bay is cool. Like, Green Bay is not like Milwaukee and Madison is big, but like obviously from a football perspective, it's very cool. I love the Northern Woods, which is where we bought our lake home. Like, it's remote, you can get away, it's beautiful, the nature, it's serene, it's really cool. The cheese curds are awesome. I love water. I love being on lakes. It's hard to beat Wisconsin. I mean, Minnesota obviously has got got a thing to say about that, but I really enjoy just like the well-roundedness of Wisconsin. You want to go to like a city, you can do that. You want to get away, you can do that. You want to be on the water, you can do that. Like you want to go to a great lake, you can do that too. Like, and you're also like, you want to go west, like you can go to Minnesota. So I actually really enjoy Wisconsin. If you had told me 10 years ago that I would say that, I would have said that I had a lobotomy. But I really, you know what, I got to say, it grew on me. I enjoy it. I enjoy Wisconsin.
I have always heard that Milwaukee in the summertime is very nice.
Awesome. Very cool city. Even in the winter, look, it's better in the summer, but they do a lot, to kind of embrace the seasons. So it's cool, man. I'm going up there for a Brewers game in a couple weeks, and put up my feet, sit back, watch them play the Reds, and have a good time.
There you go. All right, well, that's going to do it for this Saturday edition of That Football Show here on KC Sports. I appreciate you guys listening all the way until the end of the podcast, getting all the way to the end with us there. Let us know in the comment section what you want us to power rank next. If it's a good suggestion, we'll do it. If it's not, we won't.
If it sucks, don't be offended that we didn't take a bad idea.
There it is. All right, thank you to our partners, Ben Holiday Bottled and Bond Bourbon, Holiday Distillery. Please drink responsibly when you are enjoying their wonderful products that they have there, too. They not only have the bourbon, but they got 360 vodka, 5 Farms Irish Cream, liqueur, tequila rose as well. Very good stuff. They've got pretty much anything that you want. Go check them out. Weston, Missouri, if you are in the Kansas City area, just north of Kansas City. They got a great distillery up there. Give you a good tour. Tell them that KCSN sent you. They are great partners and great friends of us here at KC Sports Network. So for Matt Verderame, I'm Tucker Franklin. We'll be back on Wednesday with hopefully some more things that the Kansas City Chiefs have done or give us something to talk about because it's winding down here as we get towards the NFL draft. We will talk to you guys next Wednesday.